Welcome back to the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
I'm George.
And I'm Megz.
And this is part 3 of our Halloween 1978 revisited for the 15th time as we basically do an apology tour to Megz. We started her with Halloween 5. That's illegal in like 30 states. We should have started her with Halloween 1. We're very sorry. So to make up for it, that's what we're doing here. We rejoin the conversation already in progress.
Okay, so the movie finally gets going
Yes, after the butter drop.
when
Is that a Last
when
Tango
Annie-
reference?
no, I have not seen that. When Annie forgets her keys,
Yes.
the car door is locked. She has to go back and get the keys.
No keys.
When she comes back, Meg, did you notice when she comes back to the car? Did you
There's a
notice
bunch
anything?
of things to notice, actually. There's like 3 things.
This conversation has gone to so many places in the movie.
Oh, we're all over the
I'm
place. We
kind
have
of
ADD.
I'm struggling to put the timestamp in my head of what's going on.
Annie's gonna go pick up her boyfriend.
Okay, yes.
She goes to her car
She
and her
just
car's
got
locked.
naked,
Uh-huh.
and she's gonna go pick up her boyfriend.
Okay, yes.
So she goes to the car. The door's locked. Ah, forgot the keys.
Mm-hmm.
No keys.
And then she gets her keys, and then she comes back.
Okay.
What do you notice?
It's purposely done.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember.
She doesn't use the key to get in the car. The car
Car's
is
unlocked.
unlocked
Oh,
when she comes back.
I did not even notice that.
Okay. She gets in the car
Uh-huh.
and is promptly strangled from behind.
Yes, delicately, but yes.
Not delicately at all.
She gets
Um,
throttled, Megan. Just
Yeah. Delicately like a hurricane.
I don't
This
I don't
this actor has some relation to someone that the
On the
director
staff,
didn't
yeah.
like, so he really had Myers give it to her
Oh, that's funny.
in the car.
Well, the
that's
first of all,
speculation, is what that
the
is.
fogged up
She's a-
windows
So she's a terrible actor, so he said, all right, so
Just murder her.
really strangle her.
instead of acting like you're being strangled, just strangle her.
It is one of the best death scenes ever for somebody who's never acted
I'm gonna
more
have
than
to go
twice
back
in her life.
and rewatch that one because I think I'm combining it with some of the others. Because I feel like a lot of these scenes where people are getting roughed up or getting injured or something, like the actual physicality of it is very gentle. Like we haven't gotten to this yet, but like the scene with the hanger where she like pokes him, like she
Yeah.
literally just like poke, and then he just
Boop.
kind of like leans back, and it's like, okay, did you stab him? Did you tickle him? Like what did you do? And
Well,
some of these,
she got him in the eye.
She got him in
I
the
know,
eye.
but
You
like
find out.
it was so gentle. Like she just like poked at him a little bit. Like it was it wasn't even a jab. It was like a dink. And then he just kind of like was like, well, I'm done now. And just kind of like wanders back.
It does make. Well, hold on. It makes him drop the knife when she pokes him in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
He drops the knife, and she drives that 11-inch knife into his chest, which is
Into
what
his
makes him fall
side.
into his side, which makes him fall back
Into his
And I noticed
side.
that this time
into his side.
it's into his side, and that's significant.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Later on.
All right,
later.
I will.
Later on.
I'll write down to go back and watch this death scene because I don't remember any of the deaths being very violent. I remember them being mostly gentle, and like when people would make their cries of anguish, they sounded like cries of other things. And
Yeah.
it also,
Yeah, there is a consistent like sexual nature to the reactions of some of the victims in this
But isn't
movie.
Yes.
that purposely done as well? Like the whole running gag, no pun intended, the running gag of Annie doing the chewing sounds on the phone, and
Yeah,
then
I thought it was an
Linda-
obscene phone call.
Yeah, it's like that whole what's that movie we watched? Silent Night, Deadly. Not Silent Night. What's the other one? The Black Christmas. Like that whole phone, obscene phone call, kind of thing is purposely done. The first time she's chewing, and then when Linda calls again, she's like, "All right, Annie, but it's Linda actually being strangled. But then Annie, who was the first kill, like George is talking about, that first kill is very violent. And when we did our first time,
with the eyes crossing, it was that girl.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
yes.
That one was funny.
So in the
That was
car,
funny.
when she gets strangled, when we did the first time we did this episode, we talked about how Annie, her acting was kind of meh the whole movie. And she was like the weakest link, but her death scene is phenomenal because she might have actually been really strangled by the actor.
That's
Because-
yeah, that's why. Yeah,
Because her reaction is so good. And then Dan's like, and then he does like a cross hand, like the backhand cross, slice of the blade to her neck, and that's what kills her.
Uh-huh.
But because the strangle scene is so good, you kind of miss that
It's
slash
quick.
part.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah, I
that
didn't.
slash is
I
quick.
didn't know that he slit her throat until the 4K.
Until we
was
got
out.
older. Yeah.
It took me
And
until
I
even
don't
on
remember that
Blu-ray,
either.
I just always saw it as a strangulation, and so it made a lot more sense to go back and see the first kill in Friday the 13th, which is the first modern day kill, which is the counselor cook named Annie, who like graphically
that's
gets her
funny.
throat slit in the woods. Like they took what they did in Halloween and just like amplified it.
amped it.
They
Yeah.
Okay.
Savina-fied it.
I thought
But-
the strangulation thing was interesting because you all ruined me and started me on Halloween 5. I'm still emotionally recovering from that injustice,
Sorry.
but
Trauma.
I did not realize Michael Myers would like strangle people. Like he's a stabby stab guy. That's how he just like pitchfork, yes, knife, yes. Like he will stab you with whatever he can find. And when he started like strangling her, I was like, no, that's wrong. No, no. Where's your
that-
knife? You're supposed to, stab her. What are you doing?
That's where Dan's word comes in, the Jasonification.
Jasonification.
Jasonify. We love it.
Because in the first Halloween, it's very intimate.
Oh yeah,
Every kill he does is very intimate.
it
And
do be
that's-
intimate.
And that's kind of his calling card. Because not only is he intimately killing them, then he poses their bodies and he does like these cool theatrical things with them.
Yeah.
So it's like, again, that child coming through, which doesn't come through in any of the other killers. I mean, Leatherface kind of has that childish
Yeah,
Bubba feel. Like he's just like a child mentally in the body of a grizzly bear.
Okay.
So
yes.
the way he acts.
But that's the only other killer that I
Yeah,
can think
most
of
of
that has
them-
any kind of.
Right. So Myers, to me, that's what makes him different than the others is his up close. Almost like what the Joker says in The Dark Knight, you know why I use a knife? Yeah. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Like he's like, you can't savor all the little details of the death
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you're going to use a gun. Like he uses a knife because he can enjoy it more. It's more intimate.
Yes.
Definitely is.
If you
And that-
do continue to watch these Halloween movies, Meg,
Yes.
the next one that they made, Halloween 2, comes out in like late 81.
Okay.
By that time, there's already 2 Friday the 13th.
Oh wow. Okay.
And you know what you saw in the original Friday the 13th in terms of gore and violence.
Yes.
That trickles in to the Halloween franchise immediately. Halloween 2 is a very different, bloodier affair
Yeah.
Oh.
than Halloween. And this is that Jasonification. The Jason character will inform what Myers does to the point that, like, by the end of the Halloween movies, you've got guys getting, like, their brains shit out of their head. Like,
Yeah.
Oh.
Like impaled with like radio antennas.
yeah,
It's
it
like,
gets very Jason
Wow.
very quick. So savor this, Michael, while he's still pure.
and there's hardly any blood in this movie, which is kind of interesting as well.
That was all in the first scene when they oiled up the
Yeah,
first girl.
The sister, and then the Annie kill
I mean,
has a
poured
little
blood
bit of
on
blood,
her.
and that's it.
My bad.
Yeah, there's no blood on Bob, no blood on Linda.
Okay, can we talk about Bob?
Bob.
Let's talk
Bob
about
goes-
Bob.
Bob goes
Bob
to get
kebab.
Beer.
Lindsay a beer.
Yeah.
Go get me a beer.
Go get me a
I
beer.
thought you were gonna get me a beer.
Oh wait, before you do that, right before they go upstairs, Michael's watching them making out on the couch,
Mm-hmm.
and then they go upstairs.
He's triggered.
Oh yeah.
He gets triggered by
100%.
that. She trips over the dolly track. You got to see it.
Oh,
Like on
really?
accident?
I mean, trips by accident, and they kept
Oh,
it.
that's funny.
But
There's a
she's been
few-
drinking, so it like fits the character.
Oh yeah,
It works.
That's true.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the scene with Lindsay when what's the boyfriend's name? Annie's boyfriend,
Paul.
Paul. When Paul calls and she's like, "Hold on, I'll go get her."
And then she just hangs
That
up
scene
on
where
him.
she's, yeah, when she's watching TV, there's a part where the camera rolls on the dolly back towards the TV. You see the shadow of the crew member on the wall.
Oh my god.
I saw it. I laughed. You can see his fingers, his head. He must have been holding the boom mic or something, but it's like so blatantly obvious. You're almost thinking, was that Myers behind her?
It might have been
But
Myers. He might
No,
have been there.
it's clearly a mistake. It's
Wait,
a crew member. It's
So which scene? Which scene are you talking about?
the scene, I guess, when Annie is doing her laundry and they keep cutting inside
Oh, okay.
to Lindsay watching the thing on TV.
I thought you were talking about in the bedroom when Bob goes for the beer.
Right.
Because you see Michael's shadow
Yes, that's true. That's real.
go
That's
by.
his.
And that like
Mhm.
ooh, I got tingles when I saw that one. Because it just I wasn't expecting the shadow, and that one got me. It was a
That's
good
when they were
moment.
actually doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
it is
they're
really
actually doing
interesting that
You see his shadow.
this Myers character is not just sort of a voyeur. He's like in the room counting strokes. Like it's weird.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
Ew.
But it took a few watchings to realize that they did that. Like especially when you're young and you're seeing that for the first time, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, you may not be
Like-
paying attention to the
You're not paying
peripheral.
attention to the shadows. Like
Yeah.
years later, I realized he was in that room with them, and
Oh, yeah.
they show his shadow walk across
Yeah,
the room because
I'm not a
It's-
14-year-old, so I was not
Right.
watching that. I was
no,
in the
it was
shadows.
just well. I was young enough when I was watching it. I felt uncomfortable because she was being very noisy about it,
Yes.
and I'm like, should I be watching
Yeah,
this?
you said
Like,
you were
It
8?
was.
How old were
I
you?
was like 10.
10?
I was 8 when I saw it on regular TV.
Oh,
Edited.
TV version. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, like on channel 17, like with commercials. But I do remember them being in the bedroom. I don't remember if she was making the moaning sounds or not on regular TV, but it's possible.
Okay.
We're talking 82, 83. No, yeah, like 80. So probably they didn't have that on regular TV yet, but they were showing the act. But I remember watching that movie first time R-rated, and I was very uncomfortable with the sounds. So I was like, I shouldn't be watching this, but I want to watch it.
I shouldn't, but I
And-
wanna. But I
and
shouldn't.
I still didn't catch his shadow. I just remember the jack-o'-lantern in the room, and then it took probably around 13, 14 when I started noticing like nuance. Started
Oh.
noticing the little things like the shadows becoming his face and all those different things that you really didn't notice when you were a kid. You're just like, oh my god, I just saw a boob.
Boobs.
Yeah.
Okay, so earlier I said that Bob gets Lindsay a beer. Bob gets Linda a beer.
Linda a beer. Yeah.
Linda.
Lindsay.
Lindsay. No.
Do you remember when he says that? How creepy is that? when
Yeah,
he
that
says
is
it?
very weird.
We get
I don't
Lindsay
like
naked, he
that.
says.
Wait, was
Yeah,
he talking
it's-
about the kid?
Yes.
Yeah, they
It's very
should
weird.
have cut that out of
What?
the movie.
That should be cut
I
out.
thought
That's
he
not a
was
funny
ta-
joke, Bob.
I thought
He was making a
talking
joke,
about.
but it was
No,
bad.
it doesn't. That's not a joke. That's never funny.
No.
But I thought he was talking about the other friend, like the
No.
other girl. Oh my
Annie,
Yeah.
no. That would have
No.
made
She says
I'm glad they
The-
killed
the-
Bob.
she's gonna get naked, and then he says he's gonna get naked, and then he says, and then we'll get Lindsay naked, and I'm just like, when you're younger, you don't even hear that.
Yeah,
You're like,
Yeah.
I thought he was talking about Linda.
yeah, I did too.
Because
Yeah.
the names kind of go, crazy.
Yeah, I don't know what we were trying to accomplish with that. I think maybe we were trying to accomplish like he doesn't care. He
No,
just
it's just-
wants he
it's-
just wants that.
They're trying to establish that high school humor where it's just like
Yeah.
that he's a douchebag, and they're establishing douchebaggery.
Yeah, but
To be fair, Halloween 78 is pre-Wild Things. And so I don't even know that the idea of a consenting adult threesome would even be something you would joke about in mainstream entertainment. So
But a
I
child,
don't know.
you know.
well, I mean, it is Hollywood, so anyways, moving on.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Hey-o.
Moving on. Bob gets One in the torso.
Yes.
Well, first he gets strangled.
First he starts getting strangled,
He
right?
started with the strangle.
A great strangle, by
Yeah.
the way.
Oh yes.
And
That straight arm. ugh.
He went straight up in the air, and then he stabbed him and strangled him at the same time. So he didn't make a single sound. Like
No.
Bob,
Which is great, but I don't know that I ever realized as a kid, like, that butcher knife is now holding Bob not
Yes.
into the wall, but into like a flimsy closet door. I don't
Yeah.
know that I buy the physics of that, guys.
yeah,
It's like a pantry door or
I
something.
may
Yeah.
have made a note about that one.
Bob's not very heavy.
Yeah.
so-
Also, I think because when you see the scene after it happens, and Myers is admiring his work, Bob is dead, but he's still somehow upright.
Yeah, he's not slumped.
Yes.
Because the slump would have pulled him off that wall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Well, they film his
I
feet
forgive it.
slowly slumping.
Yeah.
the
But
only,
his head was very heavy. It would have fallen forward.
yes,
Uh-huh.
the
easily.
only reason I forgive it
It's 'cause it's
is
so awesome.
because of Myers, his acting through the mask
Mhm.
at that moment. That is
It's
the,
forgivable.
the infamous
Yes.
Myers head tilt.
Head tilt.
Yeah. Head tilt.
Do you remember the head
Oh
tilt?
yeah, it's so creepy. Like you see it,
It's
and you're
almost
just like
he can't
"Ooh."
believe.
He's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, what's cool is it kind of plays into something they don't touch on
Mhm.
that Rob Zombie does, which is the precursor to a serial killer is a person who's while growing up is torturing animals,
Mm-hmm.
pulling
Yeah.
wings off of birds.
Yeah.
You know, taking fish.
Which
and
also
like,
qualifies as torturing animals.
Yes.
right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all is same category, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just torturing and or killing animals
Yes.
in general would be a red flag. In this, it's like that's something that they don't show you that he probably could have done,
Mhm.
but he's doing it now with people,
Yeah.
which makes it even creepier.
Yes.
The head tilt for
Yes.
me kind of also was like the curiosity, like because he is so like young minded. He's kind of like playing, like you said earlier, and like he's getting really close and he's watching people for a long time, and then he's like posing them, like he put the
Mhm.
headstone on the bed, which we have to talk about that at some point.
Yes.
But the head
Awesome.
tilt
Well,
is
that's
just
the next
that
scene, right?
curiosity. I think that's later because he has to kill
Well,
her
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
little-
that's
little
later.
later.
There's another murder
after
that
the
happens
iconic
in that bed.
Ghost scene.
Yes, the
Immediately after,
ghost.
yeah.
Oh my god, the ghost! The scream that came out of me, I was cackling. Iconic. One of my favorite
So
scenes
good.
from the whole freaking movie.
Yep.
So funny, and he put his dang glasses on over the sheet. Sent me. I could have just turned the movie off right then and there, and I would have been so happy because that was pure perfection.
It almost makes me think that maybe when Myers was tilting his head, he was looking at the
At the
glasses.
Like, I could put those
glasses.
on.
Oh my god. He
Yeah.
100%
That
could
would've been
And
have
he
done
was-
that.
Oh.
You know.
Mhm.
Let's get a reshoot of this movie and just frame that scene and
also,
have him grab those glasses.
What can you
Yes.
see when you're looking at someone else's glasses?
You can see
Your
yourself.
reflection,
Mm.
which is another.
And you can see your feet.
But the Myers looking at his reflection is another thing that kind of comes up later.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So the head tilt is just for me is just gold.
It's
Ooh.
perfect.
You know, guys, it sounds like with the Bob as a ghost, but it's not Bob scene. It sounds like Meg might have seen something she liked.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
What?
See anything you like?
I did. It was,
That's what she says.
That's what she said.
Meg
That's what
was
she
like-
said.
That's what
That's what she said.
That's what she said.
It's true.
Well, this is going nowhere. Totally.
I love how mad
Ah.
she gets, and then she just harumphs over to the phone.
Yeah.
Like harumph. And he's just like slowly walking, still a little ghosty boy. And it's just so good. It's so good. And as she falls, I love that they have arranged it that the sheet falls off with her. Like they, that's a really good like physical acting there where they managed to time that perfectly.
what's great about that scene is I think it came up when we were talking about the
sounds.
homage to that in the. Well, no, the when we watch the Rob Zombie, he kind of homages that scene, and he misses the mark on what they do in the original.
100%.
And we were saying how the best part of that scene is that he stands still the whole time.
Yeah.
He does not move, doesn't react to what she's saying, doesn't do anything, doesn't nod his head like, yeah, it's coming, I'm bringing it. Like, he just stands there.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
then
Zombie definitely got that memo. The it's coming, I'm bringing it.
Yeah, that he got. But he doesn't move until she picks up the phone and starts calling.
Mm-hmm.
And then the music kicks in and then he starts walking. And it's like the patience that he has.
Oh yeah.
That he wants it's almost like he knows the person on the other end of that line is going to hear what's going on, and that excites him to do what he's going to do.
Going back to that voyeurism thing.
Yeah, because when she pulls the sheet off and you finally get the full reveal of the mask, because that's the first time you actually see him completely, like up close.
Full frontal Michael.
Full frontal Michael.
That was a different Halloween, actually.
Yeah, right? He puts that phone to his ear. That's so good that this kid puts the phone to his ear after he just strangled her. And she's talking. He knows whose voice that is.
Yeah.
And he's just like listening, like, you're next.
He wants to hear the reaction.
You come over and
he wants to hear what
it's
she's
like you
doing.
come over. You almost want him to say, "Why don't you come over and see what's going on?"
Yeah. I want to hear him talk.
Yeah, because it was like an invitation for her to come check out her friends. Come check out my work.
I mean, her friends sounded very occupied whilst being strangled. Very, very occupied. Or I would not want to come over. So
yeah, and the way that he like postures himself directly behind her, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. When I had first seen this as a kid, I wasn't aware of the sexual nature of that scene.
Right.
Oh,
I was aware that there were boobies, right? But I was missing the rest of it. And so
Unless you watch on regular TV and then it's cropped.
But now that I've seen this movie enough as an adult, the sexual nature of that strangulation is unmistakable. And then when Rob Zombie gets his hands on this franchise and remakes this movie, he makes it worse. So the subtlety definitely out the window.
I definitely haven't
subtlety
seen
out the window.
That, so I can't comment on any of the Rob Zombie bit, but like when he goes to strangle her, this is when he uses the telephone cord too, right? Okay,
yes.
so he's like strangling her. So she's like
and breathing.
Yeah, she's making a lot of noises. Which first off, if you're getting strangled, you can't make any noise. Just gonna put that out there. But the noises again are not sounds of someone getting murdered. They're sounds of other activities to do with a partner. And they like make a joke about it. Like she's like, "Oh, I see what you're doing. You're eating again. You're doing something." And I was like, "Oh God!" Like, oh no.
But it plays on the innocence of Laurie.
It does,
because it's like the whole trope of horror movies is the innocent virgin is going to survive.
Yes, the last girl
standing. Even though Jamie Lee Curtis, right, the final girl. Yeah,
final girl.
And she's getting. She's basically hearing why everybody else is dying, and she's not.
She's completely oblivious because she's still just like, oh, she's eating spaghetti. She's like, I'm like,
okay, first I get your famous squealing or your famous chewing, and now I get your famous squealing.
I was cracking up. That part was so funny, but like it is a very like sexually charged murder because first off, the scene, like clearly they're in the bedroom. She's expecting her boyfriend. There's already that like tension there. But like as he's strangling her, strangling someone from behind with like a cord, like he's got her like pressed up on his body. And as she's like, scrambling, she's like running her hands up and down his chest, which I know is probably to indicate like I'm trying to grab for you and get you off of me. But when I was watching that, I was like, it just looks like she's just like caressing him. Like she's just like, hey.
You're waiting for the Everly Brothers or the Righteous Brothers, a song from Ghost to play
Yes.
while he's
Yes.
behind her.
Like I was.
Whoa, my love.
Ooh, which we could.
Yeah, that would be good.
We could comment that brings you back to Community. The no ghost. There's no ghosting in my pottery class episode. Don't test me on my Community
George,
lore.
have you seen it?
I know the pottery episode.
I don't know if he knows the
He
Ghost
doesn't
reference.
He doesn't know
He's
the
never
Ghost
seen
reference.
Oh, no,
man.
no. I don't know the movie, but I do know the reference
episode.
to
This
Community.
scene.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's what it reminded me of. Was the no ghosting
in my pottery
in
class.
my pottery class. You will instantly, you will be kicked out of class, like instant ban. Like
Yes.
that's what I thought
That's
of.
the one.
It's like playing Stairway to Heaven at the guitar place.
Basically,
Yes.
yeah. The professor or the teacher of the pottery class says, "Listen, this class is an easy A. My only rule is
No ghosts.
ghost.
none of
Ghosting.
that."
Nice. Nice.
He's like, if I even
So-
hear a hint, I don't remember what the song was, but it was like, if you even hum one bar, I will kick you out of here so fast.
That's good shit.
But yeah, that's what I thought of. It was very sensual. oddly.
Unchained Melody is in
Yes,
the song.
Unchained Melody. Thank you.
We skipped over one of my favorite scenes.
Oh,
Which
okay.
one?
Let's go back.
After Annie's dead and Tommy, so Annie's the first kill in the car.
Okay.
Tommy's like, I see the boogeyman. He's outside. He's outside.
Yeah, he's freaking out.
Myers walking from the garage to the front door, carrying Annie
Mm-hmm.
up the steps,
Mhm, mhm.
kicking the front door in, walking in. It's iconic for me for multiple reasons. It's the only part in the movie where you see Myers, and it's not Halloween music being played.
Ooh, that's
Huh.
true.
I didn't even notice that.
It's very eerie, quiet. Same when Tommy looks outside and Myers is, you see a silhouette looking in the window, and the leaves are blowing by. Like there's no, there you hear the music, but the one time when he's walking with Annie, it's the soundtrack of The Thing.
So good
Oh.
though, because it's like an intense score from the thing. Like it's not just
Yeah,
It
it's very
like
science
they
fiction.
score
You're
the
like,
movie with another movie. It's very cool.
Right. But it's
Huh.
like it fits perfectly with him robotically walking up those steps, carrying her like 1950s, Forbidden Planet kind of, the robot
Yeah, like
carrying
thrown
or the
over the
alien
shoulder.
carrying, thrown over the shoulder, or carrying him in that
The
the
Cain
way
and
he's
Abel.
carrying Annie. Yeah, and to me that's one of my favorite parts. I don't know why. It just shows like his cockiness.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just walking around carrying bodies. He's setting them up with tombstones. He's carrying that tombstone into the like everything we're not seeing, but we know is happening.
Yeah.
It's just all the theatrics of it. It's stuff you don't think about until you get older, and you think about everything that goes into that character. They're giving you a lot, even though you're not really knowing why he's doing what he's doing, or where he came from, or why any of this is happening. But they're giving you so much to play with that you're almost jumping to conclusions, and you're creating the character in your own head, which makes it even scarier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Zombie again missed that boat.
Yeah.
Easy to
Not
do.
known for his subtlety.
Easy
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
No subtlety.
So I think
So we're back
We're-
to Ghost Bob.
we're
It's fun.
down to
It's
Ghost Bob.
cat and mouse time.
no.
It's
We,
the
we
chase.
talked about
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
This-
yeah.
This is final
After
girl
Ghost Bob,
time.
when she goes across the street to check out
Okay, so this is final girl time. Jamie Lee Curtis
George's
in
love.
a blue
Love is love.
blouse,
No.
just perfection.
He's Italian and he's kissing his fingers right now, and he's going perfection.
Perfect.
Perfecto.
Oh. My God,
Ciao, Mela. Huh?
Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay,
He loves.
All right,
Jamie
we're going
Lee.
back to
I do.
simping for Jamie Lee. Continue.
so I mean, earlier in the movie, she looks like I don't know what she looks like. She's dressed
Kinda
like
homely.
like a librarian
Wow.
Yeah,
or
she's
something.
You guys are
kinda
rude,
homely.
but continue.
But now,
Well,
no,
all
no
right, we'll
offense
say-
to any of the
We'll
librarians.
say it in a nice way.
like,
She was very plain Jane. Very, very plain Jane.
it was worse.
But-
She looked almost Amish.
No, she was worse. Like you were like,
I
you're trying to
apologize.
make it
I
nice, and
apologize.
you're like, oh no, she was just more plain Jane. And then he's like, no, she was worse.
No, I have no attraction to Jamie Lee Curtis in the beginning of this movie.
Okay,
No.
we
I
believe
have
you.
all the attraction
at the
to
end.
Jamie Lee Curtis in the Blue Blouse.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. It's anyway.
Okay.
Put that away.
Let's delve deeper into that one.
So,
Get back, witch.
so yeah, it's final girl time.
Final girl time.
Final
She's in the
girl.
blue blouse.
She's in the Blue Blouse.
This is so good. That
she
long
goes-
walk over to the house.
she
You
goes
know
over-
everything that happened over there.
Yep. She
She's
goes
going in
over.
the lion's den.
She discovers, posed bodies of all of her 3 friends, and
And she figures out why he had to steal rope.
Yes.
yep,
Yeah, because Bob's got to come swinging in, save the day.
Gotta
Yep.
swing in.
Got to
Yeah.
swing. Although I really love the cinematography of that scene, like that whole long shot of her walking over there. Everything's in blues. Her shirt,
Blouse.
the night sky, her blouse.
Blue blouse.
Uh,
Gotta say it. Gotta say it.
the
same way.
house is dark. Everything's dark.
It's unbuttoned just enough.
Just enough.
You
just
would
the
know
tip.
that.
It's
Okay.
it's the subtlety is there because it's not like it's. It's
I think
not
what George is trying to say, it's sexy, but it's
classy.
modest.
So
it's
this is
classy. Yes.
It's so
love.
good.
Ooh.
Slow down. Hey now.
Well, I mean, I just watched modern day Jamie Lee Curtis, and it's not as good. But
Yeah.
Blue
She
Blouse.
should have put on the
Yes.
blue blouse. Is what you're telling us.
She had a few good decades. Let's put it that way. Now she looks like your mom.
She's literally 40 years older now.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
But yeah, seeing the bedroom light, the jack-o'-lantern light, that's the only color in that
Yeah.
scene.
yes,
Is the projection of the light, which is awesome. And then you hear the music when
you
she
see a
opens the door.
big tombstone. I don't know how I feel about a big tombstone, but that's fine.
I thought it would fall
whole-
in a smasher because if you've ever tried to stand something up on a bed and then put something in front of it, it's gonna just flop over because the bed.
It's very difficult.
not-
Yeah.
That's the movie for
stagnant.
Dan to make with the realtor.
I just kept waiting
Show
for
Myers putting that.
her to get pancaked.
Show him put
Just-
pancake.
she could-
See her
She'd
feet.
look like the
feet
wicked
go out like
witch
the
of
witch.
the west.
Wicked
Yeah.
Witch.
Yes.
Feet just sticking out.
But yeah, just show the end credits 15 minutes of Myers trying to put that tombstone up.
It'd be so
Yeah,
funny.
or-
That thing's got to weigh
Yeah,
at
it's
least
like
200
the
pounds.
outtakes.
Can
Yeah,
you
the
guys
outtakes.
please
Yeah.
just make just completely behind the scenes Halloween?
lampoon?
But you have to make scene for scene all the things that had to happen for Michael to pull all this off. But you are only allowed to film the behind the scenes moments. None of the killings. I want to see all the behind the scenes. It would be so funny.
Oh, what's the name of that play? I think it's called Curtains Up or something like that.
Oh, noise is
And-
off.
Noise is off, and they show the first half of the play is what's going on stage,
Oh, yeah.
and then the
Like
second half of the play is
that.
everything, same play,
Yes.
but everything that was going
Just
on
like that.
backstage. It's pretty
Just
good.
like
It's
that.
good shit.
Oh, I never heard of that.
I've
Ooh,
actually
that's good.
seen
Put that
that
on the list of
one.
movies we'll watch. Yeah, that's a good one.
I was actually in that, and it's good
For
stuff.
you.
Yes.
Samir, I am.
Okay,
easy.
so
Not in that movie. I was in a stage play version of it.
Oh. Okay. All right, so Blue Blouse.
Yeah, no, I was not in the movie.
yeah,
Blue
so
Blouse.
so
Slower,
Blue
slower,
Blouse.
slower.
Jamie Lee Curtis discovers
Lower.
her friends. She's
Blue
horrified.
Blouse.
She stands right at the top of the
Blue.
stairs.
He becomes Homer Simpson. He's like, Blue Blouse.
Sounded more like
Boobies.
Squidward.
Donuts. Football.
Oh my God!
All right, go.
You clipped very hard.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, okay, that's okay.
My Homer always clips.
So she's at the top of the
Yes.
stairs. Myers appears in the shadow behind her.
yeah.
The best shot of the movie.
So
Yes.
freaking
pin light.
good.
and takes the worst swing of that knife
He had a rough
has
night.
ever taken in his
He had to
life.
strangle 3 people. He's probably
He's
sore. and
tired. He's dragging bodies.
And he had to carry that
carry a
tombstone up the steps.
tombstone.
That's true. He probably pulled his shoulder
Probably
He
out.
pulled
hasn't had
some
any
shit.
time to go get some Gatorade. Okay, he needs
No.
to up his electrolytes, y'all. He's famished. He's tired.
He had probably hurt his shoulder using the Slim Jim to open Annie's car door.
Yeah,
You know what it was? This is for real though. Annie's
For
this is
real.
for reals.
Annie has not Annie. What am I talking about? Lori,
Laurie.
has a a slasher killer virginity force field
Yeah.
around her.
Okay. I thought you were gonna say she had a great ass.
No.
Well,
She has this virginity
Could do it
force
too.
field where when Michael's knife comes down, it hits the force field and just gets
Yes.
deflected.
See,
Yes.
I was
Right?
gonna say this is what happened. Michael appears and he goes to take a stab, and then he sees the blue blouse. And he
He's
he
mesmerized.
can't do it anymore,
Well,
and that's why he misses.
he's triggered. He's
mesmerized.
Triggered
He's
by
triggered.
the blouse. Mm-hmm.
He's triggered by the blouse because it's so
It's
sensual.
so beautiful.
And so he tries to destroy the blouse. I mean,
So
he does cut Laurie a bit as well.
Actually, it
it's
has to do with the
blinding
fact that he
him.
had to copy Umberto Lindsay's scene
Yes.
frame by frame. So yeah, that he never
Yeah,
saw.
that stab. My note was he has terrible aim.
Yes. I mean, that's the consensus. But like I said, it's a virginity force field that deflected the knife. It has to be. That's the only explanation.
I think it's that because if you look at most of the action, I talked about this earlier. I mean, this is a lower budget film. I mean, this was the first in the franchise. You guys were saying there were only like 12 people getting everything
Yeah.
together. I feel like to get the shot, they couldn't get a fast stab. Like that would have taken like multiple tries. Like if you go too fast, the camera might miss it. And they were like, just go slow enough we can see it so we don't have to reshoot. And he was like, okay, bet. And then he just stabbed as slow as mud. And that's how it happened. He was just like, all right, one shot and we're done. I got this.
He was like, all right, bet.
Yeah, I always had a problem with that.
Yeah.
Stuff. It should have been a nice score somewhere.
But-
Maybe not where it would have killed her, but something
Even
that
just like grazing her arm, not just like cutting her shirt. I just feel like that would be a little bit more.
it turns Myers into a stormtrooper.
True.
Once
Yeah.
Travis saw
Exactly.
the scene that Carpenter might have been visually referencing, let's put it
Right,
that
right,
way. I think a lot of it came into focus as to why that shot was what it was.
Mm.
Yes. Oh, it's a frame by frame homage to something he never saw.
Yeah.
But I've
Interesting how
never
that worked
seen
out.
it.
Never saw.
So
Oh, but you
For
will,
me-
Meg. Oh, but
for
you
me, it was just a lousy stab. And I'm like, get good, son. Like, what is this?
will.
All right, you're the shadow in the darkness. I want to see some darkness.
You're the
all
shape.
right? Yeah.
So she
Boogeyman.
She
goes
has
rolling
good aim.
down
She
the
hit
stairs.
his eyeball.
Yeah, she goes rolling down the
She
stairs.
hit his eyeball with
Yeah.
a hanger.
She went
and
over the
Myers couldn't hit her
railing.
body.
Yeah, she runs outside, and this is a thing that when I was a kid I never appreciated, but now is one of my favorite little moments when she gets to the neighbor's porch and the lights come up and you have this little beacon of hope, and then the blinds open and the lights go off.
Yep.
Like that letdown feeling is so strong.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
You're like, why didn't you
So
guys
good.
help her? Like, she's right there. But
I think that's the scene that kind of makes Laurie who she is, because I think we talked about it earlier. That was her moment where she's like, I have to step up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I have to Sigourney
I'm
Weaver.
not
this shit.
getting any help.
exactly.
Yeah, I have to become Ellen
It also
Ripley.
it says something about Haddonfield,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right? So it's
should burn.
yeah.
I mean, the police blame the children for everything. He's like, oh, stealing, children.
Mhm.
You speeding,
Yeah.
children. Murder, definitely children. So now everyone in town is like, oh, you're a child? Goodbye. Hope the killer gets you.
But think about it. Is Haddonfield really like a safe suburbia kind of, bubble, or is everyone just in denial?
At this moment,
Mm-hmm.
it's a safe place where people don't expect something like this to
Or
happen.
is everyone in denial?
No,
When something
that is-
crazy happens, they just act like it's not
That is
happening.
lore that has been
That is lore.
pigeonholed into that has been pigeonholed by new filmmakers to kind of justify.
Okay.
The whole purpose of Haddonfield was to basically say you are not safe anywhere.
You're not safe.
This
where
will
you
happen
think
to
you're
your
safest.
child
Yes.
who is an honor student who has no signs of anything, can snap and kill his sister, and no one would expect it because our town, we are safe from this. We are supposed to be safe from this. the new lore, I'm not buying into it as much. I get you want to make Haddonfield into this town of deniers and boogeyman worshippers and all that crap. Whatever. The original Halloween, that was not the
Okay,
commentary.
but what it does, like you said, is give Laurie the realization that she's on her own.
Right.
She's got to take care of
Which
this.
she should have had all along, because the whole movie is her on her own.
Yeah, basically. And so then obviously her first priority now is the children
The kids,
that she's responsible for.
because of her selfish friends.
Yeah.
Yep. And a lot happens really quickly.
Mm-hmm. And what's funny is Megz mentioned the kids being at fault by, like, I remember when I was growing up in the 80s, it was a lot of, where are your parents?
Yes.
It was a lot of that.
Uh-huh.
Like, your parents let you do that? Who are these kids' parents? Like, the adults talked more like that, but then they also did the blame, oh, well, everything, that's why that line is so funny, you blame everything on kids. Because it was. The adults would always say, right after saying, where are your parents? Who are your parents? They'd be like, kids are the problem. So it's like, yeah,
like,
but
wait.
Again, you guys are very oblivious to what's going on. You close the door on Laurie. You shut your lights off. Like, there's a lot of blame to the parents too. Like,
Oh, 100%.
That-
I mean, that's why they
where the
ask,
hell are the parents?
where are your parents? And then who? Because they're looking to see, oh, who raised this delinquent child? Who raised this kid
Right.
that's pretending to be stabbed on my front porch? Like, they instinctually blame the parents subconsciously, but like
Right.
outwardly, they're like, it's you. You're a punk teenager. But that's a whole nother topic of that decade's mentality on parenting and responsibility and stuff.
Well, I always tell my kids, I'm like, you are a representation of me, and they continuously embarrass me all the time.
I mean, aren't you?
There's a
matter how-
You're
line.
talking about boobies on the internet right now. Like you've been talking about it. Blue blouses, like there's all sorts of stuff going on.
That was George.
So
That's me.
That was
Actually, I
George.
don't think Travis has really talked much about boobies tonight.
He just did
Not
the
tonight.
Homer voice.
he did.
Just the Homer
I'm
voice.
just
I
saying,
did
Yeah,
it.
there's
that's
some
just-
embarrassing content somewhere in there.
It's fine.
Well,
When I'm
There's
dead,
a-
they'll love it.
there's a line from a show called Suits.
What's it
And
called?
Suits.
Suits.
Okay.
And it's a lawyer, and the apprentice lawyer, let's call him, says, "You care about me," and he says, "No, you are a reflection of me, and I absolutely care about me."
Oh.
Yep.
Wow.
It's true.
There you go.
So that's what I'm going to tell my kids. Just kidding.
Oh my God.
Blouse.
Blue Blouse.
Blue Blouse.
Blue blouse.
So, what did you think of the crescendo of this movie?
Like our final girl scene.
Final battle.
Final battle.
Yep.
Yeah. I liked, again, I mentioned this concept earlier. I love ebb and flow. It's that thing where if you stay high energy the entire time that you are talking, or it's a film or a show, if it's high energy the whole time, nothing surprises you. It's all exciting, which makes none of it exciting. So I liked that there were several moments where you think that Laurie is safe, or she thinks she's safe, but you
Mhm.
know she sure as hell is not. But like she gets that like moment of relief, and then he sits up, and you're like, oh, good God, girl, run. Like, and it was that like going from like still relief, that like release of air, to like the tension. And I thought that was really, really well done as far as like the hold and the captivation that they had on the audience. I really enjoyed that. I was going to ask you all if Michael Myers has some sort of, I know that he's indestructible. Okay, we've already established this. But she straight up poked this man in the eye with a hanger, all right? And then later, she stabs him with a knitting needle. And he just kind of is like, oh, now I have to pull this out of me. And I'm like, excuse me? You just got stabbed in the... He doesn't even make a noise. He barely moves. I'm like, this is intense.
No, actually, the knitting needle
was the first
time she thought she killed him.
I thought that was the second one. Was that the first one?
No. She falls down the steps and then crosses the street. And then she gets in the house and she thinks she's safe, but the window's open. And
I hated that.
Hits him in the
I hated
neck
it.
with a needle.
I knew it was happening.
Yep.
He does kind of grunt and react to it. He's down and out for a couple minutes, I guess. I don't know.
Well, so much so that she thought she killed him.
But she
Yeah,
keeps
and then she
thinking
drops
she
the knife.
kills him. And I'm like, girl, he's not dead. Stop dropping the knife.
She goes up the stairs. She goes up the stairs to get the kids.
Yeah.
And she
You
says,
go
she says
downstairs?
it was, you did see someone, the boogeyman or whatever. I killed him.
Right.
So she thinks she killed him.
Right.
Right. And then
Very motherly.
And then she shoves them back in the room because Michael Myers is
at the top of the steps.
Exactly. She shoves them back in the room. She goes to the closet, and that's where you have the through the slats scene, which is
infamous,
iconic.
Yeah,
fantastic.
A lot of people have recreated that in other films, movies, TVs.
Absolutely.
There's a lot from this movie that I recognize. And like the asylum and the patients on the front lawn in the rain, I have seen that so many times, and I realize this is what it's from. Like, these people are emulating these moments. So it's familiar to me just because media has adapted so many moments from this movie and just made it a part of cinema culture. And I thought that was just so cool. Same with the like slats in the closet. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that somewhere else.
Well, it's funny that's the kind of thing that we talk about all the time. Because George will say, well, I predicted that, or that's so you don't use the word trope. That's so predictable, or that is so it's so been done so many times. And it's like, but this is the first.
This was the first time.
Right.
Yeah,
so they were all inspired by this. And now it's become trope because everybody's like, oh, well, I wouldn't, like Dan was saying, with you don't get the slasher films that we've been dealing with for decades unless you have this in the first Friday. But then Jason goes a certain direction, and now that's what everybody wants to do. So then you lose the nuance of Michael Myers in a lot of movies.
Yeah, for sure.
But they do. They try to emulate. They try to recreate. They imitate. Sometimes they pay homage. Sometimes they just steal it.
I remember watching this scene, the closet scene. She pokes him in the eye, and then he drops the knife. She stabs him with the knife, and she gets out of the closet, and she drops the knife. Right.
Twice. That's the second time she dropped it.
I don't know why she keeps dropping stuff. I'm like, girl, keep it close.
Exactly.
Hello?
Exactly. So when I saw it the first time, I thought, oh, that's so typical. Like, he's, she drops. Why would she drop the knife? It's a stupid thing to do in a horror movie, right? Is to drop the knife right next to the guy you thought you just killed. But that wasn't a trope yet.
Exactly.
Right? This is the first, time this has been done. It's not overdone yet in 1978.
I think Texas Chainsaw is like one of the first mainstream ones to do that final girl chase out the door,
right?
Trip and fall.
But even then, how many times does someone get killed in Chainsaw that you think they're killed and they're not?
Right.
None. Right.
Well, there's one, but it's not one of the killers. One of the things we talked about, Meg, with Halloween at the time that George first watched it, and I think, unfortunately, with you probably, because of Halloween 5, already had the expectation that Michael was indestructible.
Wah.
A bit of context that you need for this movie, and George needed it too, because George, around the same time he watched this, he watched an Argento movie from the same era that Carpenter admits to, borrowing some elements from for Halloween and Halloween 2. And
was that Deep Red?
Yeah. And George watched it and he was like, yeah, it was good. I was kind of underwhelmed though, because like the killer died at the end. And I was like, yeah, because people die, man. But like, because of this movie and Jason movies, there's this expectation that these killers are all supernatural. And so when this movie comes out and Michael's body disappears at the end of the movie, that nowadays is like, oh, here we go. We'll see it in the sequel.
Yeah.
Right? But
Right.
before this movie, you really didn't do a lot of sequels to scary movies. And you never had the get up and leave robotic indestructible killer. So such a mind-blowing moment is lost on today's audience because now that's the expectation.
Yeah, that the
Right.
killer's going to secretly not be dead and come back and you'll see them in the next movie. 100%.
Mm. And that's what's so great about Scream, because all the tropey things that you think are done over and over and over and over again, Nev Campbell's character points that out and says, well, I hate these movies because of A, B, and C.
Mm.
Because the girls in there are terrible, and they run to the door, and it's locked. Like, oops, their boobs fall out. Like, she says, makes all these jokes about how they trip over nothing, and then during the movie, all that shit really happens to her.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, that's
With
such an homage, but done modern. It's so perfect, and I'm glad that you were able to experience all these movies and then watch Scream to get that feeling.
oh my God, what a service you guys have done for
Yes,
me.
we've
What
done
a
that for you.
disservice
We've
you've
done
done
that
for me.
Meg gets Halloween
Yeah,
5.
thanks
Yeah.
a lot. Thanks a lot,
She
Dan.
didn't get Psycho. She didn't get Halloween.
No, you're talking about this beautiful, like, like start at this place and you're just like going uphill and it's this beautiful experience. And you're like, Meg, watch Halloween 5. It'll be hysterical. And then go back. And I'm like, thanks
Meg
a
got
lot.
that. Yeah. Tarantino that shit.
Thanks a
Oh,
lot.
God.
Just set it all on fire. Push me off a hill.
So
Yeah. Dan just gave her the big Nelson. He's like,
He did.
so obviously at the very end, Myers ends up on the lawn because Loomis shoots him no less than six
Times. I counted and I wrote it down.
Okay. The 7 shots comes later in Halloween 2 when they show the scene again.
Uh-huh.
They edit it incorrectly and he shoots 7 times.
Oh. I remember you all
So-
making a reference to something about Loomis's
Yeah.
shots, and there were lots of jokes between you all that I did not understand at all. And so he started shooting, and I was like, count the shots. And I rewound it
Yeah, count the
so I
shots.
could count them so that when we talked about it, I'd be like, yeah, exactly 6 times. Yeah, exactly 6. I know. I did
Yes.
count.
The mistake doesn't happen until the next.
I think
the next
that
movie.
line is actually on Donald Pleasant's tombstone.
I shot him 6
six
times.
times.
Yes, in the second movie, he also says, "I shot him 6 times."
Sheriff.
He did.
But in the beginning of the movie, when they flash back, he actually shoots him
Yeah,
7
the
times.
editing's off, and someone left one extra shot
Oh,
in there.
that's
So there was
funny.
7 times. He's got one of those cool 7 shooters.
Yeah.
The magic
or he
So now
reloads
whenever-
really quickly.
Yeah, whenever a revolver is involved in a Halloween movie, I always hope
Always
inside
count.
that it shoots 7 times, but it never
Make
does.
an homage to that mistake.
Exactly, but it never does.
But I think the ending is such an example of Donald Pleasance. Like, the corniest lines are in the end. And his delivery of, as a matter of fact, it was. Like, I know from watching interviews with Carpenter, they filmed, like, I think 2 or 3 different reactions.
Mm-hmm.
2 definitely. They filmed his reaction as if Myers was laying down there,
Okay.
and if he wasn't.
Okay.
So they filmed both, and then in editing, Carpenter went with the missing body.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they said his delivery of the lines were different.
Oh.
So I'm curious to see his delivery of the lines if Myers was laying there.
Yeah, I don't.
And the fact that he actually makes that choice that it's going to be delivered differently because Myers is laying there. It's the same lines.
So
Yeah.
he
That's good shit.
changed the delivery, or that he had different lines.
No, same lines.
Ooh, yeah, I would love
But his
to see that.
reactions. Yeah, his reaction, like when he looks down, and then I think the reaction they kept was him kind of looking off into nothingness as they started cutting to all the scenes where where Myers could
Yeah.
be. But like that, as a Shakespearean actor, he probably felt every freaking line in this movie was corny.
So wait, is he a Shakespearean actor?
As far as I know, he's Shakespearean
Okay.
trained.
He
Is that wrong, Dan?
I don't know much about his background training, but Meg, he is like a super famous British actor from the 50s and 60s.
Okay, so all of my feelings of him like doing only serious like Shakespeare and no musicals, only like very serious roles is kind of based on his IRL
Like I
actor a little bit.
imagine if in 20 years Jude Law shows up in a slasher movie
Oh my
playing an
God.
Ahab character, and that's kind of
Yeah.
equivalent to Donald
Okay.
Pleasance. Like he's very famous, very strong actor.
He was a big get for a low budget
Yeah.
film.
Okay. I'll have to see
Definitely.
if I've seen him in other things. I'm not always great
Man.
with names.
He's a Bond villain.
Ooh, love it.
Yeah, he's a Bond villain. He's in like The Great Escape, I think, or one of those.
Did you ever see Austin Powers?
I wasn't allowed.
But are you aware of who Dr. Evil is?
Yes.
Dr. Evil? All right, so visually, Dr. Evil is based on Donald Pleasant's Bond villain.
Oh, that's amazing.
Verbally, he's based on the producer of Saturday Night Live.
Stop.
I would
But-
love to hear the Loomis delivery with the body still down there, with like and I don't know how he delivered it. I don't know if we can find that somewhere online, but I would love to hear like a mix of, relief that it's over, but also like kind of regret and failure as both a father figure and also as a professional psychiatrist. Like if you could balance, I think he has the nuance to do it. Relief and also regret, like that would be an amazing end.
Mhm.
And then just not make any sequels.
Well, that's what we were saying, why the franchise kind of suffers, because they started giving all the Dr. Loomis lines to everybody else,
Yeah.
and they just weren't landing correctly because it just weren't delivered with the same class
Mhm.
and thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does
Because
take
you get a guy who's like, the evil left your building tonight, sheriff. And it's like, if like the local bartender says that, you're just like, dude, shut up.
Okay.
Really? It's evil? Really?
Oh, evil left the building. What are we going to do about it?
Yeah. You know what walked out of here last night? Evil.
Was-
It just doesn't sound right. Okay, Bob, go
Oh my
drive the
gosh.
bus.
Drive the bus.
Go
Tell
drive
me
the
when the
bus.
girl with the blue
Meg.
blouse shows up.
Meg, you did it. You watched Halloween. Was it a rewarding experience? Was it worth it?
It was. It was so rewarding, but also filled me with a burning rage against you guys for making me watch
Just
the other
Just
one.
Dan.
Okay,
Dan's fault.
Dan.
It was
All
me.
Dan.
I did that.
I
That was
have
me.
some resentment towards you because I would watch and I would see these scenes, these iconic scenes, and I'll be like, oh, they did that in Halloween 5. And it made me mad every single time I thought that. Like, a part of me just died inside because I was like, no, they did it in Halloween. And then they
Were
did
we
it in
right that
Halloween
you got to
5.
watch the worst? You watched the worst Dr. Loomis
I
first.
see, like, I can see shadows of him in the 5th one. Like I can see it. Like, he's still very dramatic. He's still got big feelings.
But he's like forcing children, like using them
That's
as bait
true.
and stuff.
That
like,
part's a little that's
didn't
a little
seem
weird.
Yeah, it's still Donald Pleasance.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
just it's Donald Pleasance doing things that
He's
Donald Pleasance
still-
wouldn't do.
So the
That's-
actor himself, he acts with such commitment. So no matter what the line or the action would be, he's someone that he just pours himself into what he's told to do. And so everything he did to me was always so believable because he's committed. He's in it. So I could still see that because the actor is just so good. But as for like watching Halloween, I'm just really glad that I got to watch it. Having seen media and film and such that comes much later, and seeing these tropes and these moments that I have seen like remade in other things and homages given. It's really cool to see it, like you guys were saying earlier, and be like, no, this wasn't a trope then. this was iconic. This was revolutionary. No one had done this before, and they were the first.
At least not in
Yeah,
America.
at least not here. So that was really cool to get to see that. It also kind of, washed my brain a little bit, washed my soul after watching Halloween 5. I could see.
You needed a
Yeah,
shower.
I did. I felt I needed a shower. I really did. I
mental
did. I
shower.
needed to sit in the shower and cry. But it was nice to see the subtlety that comes with Michael Myers in Halloween. Because he's that shadow, and like the moments where he would just like appear, like where he comes forward out of the darkness when he's about to stab Laurie in her blue blouse. That was so good. And the shadow when he's in the room and he just like all you see is his shadow go over the bed. Like it was those subtle moments where it was like
Very Dracula.
yes, I was just like ooh,
Yeah.
like but like in Halloween 5 I was like, oh look, there he is. Oh look, there he is. Oh, he's stabbing you. Oh look, he's in the closet.
See your feet.
Like nothing was sly. Like I was just like, all right, you big
No.
dummy. Like I can see you. She could probably see you.
That
You big
Yeah.
oaf.
that's why when you said, "Oh, I loved how they used the sounds for like the cops and stuff," I'm like, "You love that?" Because this is so subtle. So much in this movie
Yeah.
is so
Yes.
subtle, and that's why it's so
Yeah.
good. That the Halloween 5 was just like
So on the nose.
it's like, ugh.
You have
God.
you had to
Jeez
separate
Louise.
yourself from them. Like
Yeah.
cuz you had Halloween and then you watched that. See, I watched Halloween
Yeah.
5 like I would watch Sharknado. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the
Right.
way you have
And
to.
that's
honestly.
why
yes,
I was like,
to
I
enjoy it.
think this is funny. Like it was funny because they come out with clown sounds, and I was like, well, this is ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. But like,
I think Sharknado is like the Godfather compared to
yeah,
Halloween 5.
Sharknado, cinematic masterpiece.
Oof.
So, Meg, I have good news
Oh,
and
no.
bad news.
Okay.
Oh shit.
The good news is there are other good Halloween movies.
Ooh.
Mhm.
The bad news is it doesn't get any better than this.
So the news is that they're good, but they're never gonna beat this one.
This is
This is the OG.
Mhm.
the best
Yeah, you don't-
Halloween movie that exists. Period.
I mean,
There are other good ones.
okay.
This one is the best.
Hey, I mean, it can't be worse than Halloween 5. So,
No. Well,
it never gets worse than
Halloween
Halloween
6.
5.
I mean, we don't talk about
Well,
Halloween 6.
Resurrection's pretty
Right?
bad.
I've seen 5. I don't need to go forward. I'm good. I'll go back.
I would recommend, this is my experiment, and this is not a cruel experiment. Watch Halloween 2018.
Oh,
Yeah.
next.
Yeah.
No, because there's multiple
It's a-
timelines. You
it's
could
a-
go
It's a
Halloween-
direct sequel to this.
you could go
Oh.
Halloween 1 and then 2 and then 4, and there's all different timelines. But your best bet for the best story, I think, is to skip over all of the
Shit.
the 5 and 6 and the 4 and all that stuff.
All the fan
You
service.
know, H2O did a good job. That was in 20. What was H2O?
98.
98. But
It's okay.
I think my
watchable.
favorite timeline is
This
this
one.
movie, Halloween 2018, and then you actually, I mean, you
You can
You
kind of
just
stop
go-
there.
don't
you
do
know,
it.
yeah.
yeah, you can
stop
you can
there.
stop there, or
Yeah.
you can watch Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, but really just this and Halloween 2018 together are
that's
are
enough.
very very
Based
good.
on your review of this, I think you would probably enjoy 2018 very
Okay.
much.
I mean, I'm game to watch it. I have them all. I can stream them now and watch them. So I'm invested. I want to see what else happens.
And I would suggest, and it may seem redundant because we just recorded our longest episode ever talking about a movie.
Yeah, are you
that
gonna cut
we all
this?
love.
Dear God, so long.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Your the original episode we did on Halloween back 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
the YouTube version goes in depth on scenes that appear in Halloween that were lifted almost directly out of other movies, more obscure movies that he maybe didn't see ever. but somehow managed to take scenes out of. If you would like to do a little self-study,
Okay.
you might want to take a look at that. If you would rather, just come over sometime and I'll show you a bunch of clips
There we go.
side by side with Halloween and make it more fun and
Yes.
interactive for you.
Let's do it. Yes. I want to
Well,
see
thank you, Mini Megz, for coming on our show.
Yeah.
Do you want to pimp your Twitch stuff so everybody knows where they can find you?
Pimp it.
Pimp it. I mean, yeah, if you made it this far, first off, congratulations. I hope you got up and stretched, got some water, maybe a Gatorade.
Don't underestimate our
I mean-
listeners.
No, they'll listen
Our
to
listeners
All of it?
are
They're gonna make it all the way
Yeah.
here. All right.
Absolutely.
If you
They're-
made it all the
We're
way
gonna listen
here,
and we're gonna
I'm
notice.
gonna need
the-
you to
the
tell me.
reason why-
Okay. All right. If you're listening, I'm not on Twitch. I would say chat. I'd be like, all right, chat. Let me know. Let me
We're
know in the
getting there.
comments. But yeah, I stream on Twitch. I play a lot of Nintendo games because I am a 90s kid, so I can't let go of nostalgia. And I have a very, very large Nintendo collection, and that's like classic, like from OG Nintendo to now. Very extensive Nintendo collection, and I document that on Instagram too. But basically, if you just search the Mini Megz or Mini_Megz with a Z, you'll find me somewhere.
That's a Z for our Canadian listeners.
Yeah, a Z.
Z.
But thanks for having me back. I had a blast. It was really fun. It was a nice, like, refreshing change of pace from the first one. You know, I feel redeemed.
Well,
This one was good. and
Yeah,
one wasn't.
if it makes
exactly.
you feel any better, Megz, I don't know that we would have made it through Halloween 5 without you.
Oh, that makes me feel better.
True.
So you made it
Yeah.
better for us, even though we made it worse for you. So maybe it evens out.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Well, thank you to Mini Megz, and thank you to all of you for joining us on the Remedial Film Class podcast. Thanks for coming across 3 separate parts of gigantic Halloween fun episodes. We promised that we would do this at the end of the episode, that we would compare movies to Halloween, and Halloween would be better. You remember this? We talked about it 4 hours of content ago. Basically, I wanted to prove to Travis and George that I could argue in any case, no matter what movie they mention, that Halloween is a better watch on any given evening than what they present. We had that idea because we thought this would be a 20 or 30 minute episode with Mini Megz, and we needed to fill a little bit of space. Turns out she's a great guest and loves Halloween. Who could have known? So we will do a special presentation of movie versus movie for Halloween versus their nominated movies, and we will launch that on Halloween Day. So you get a bonus Monday episode in addition to your Wednesday, Thursday, Friday episodes. You guys are going to be sick of us by the end of this, but let me let you in on a little secret. Our next regular episode, which will launch the Wednesday after Halloween, might be our last episode. Now, did you just hear like tires squeal and glass break? Right? Oh my God, what? A last episode? We're going to have George watch Sleepaway Camp. And honestly, I can't guarantee that he's not going to quit the show or, worse, physically injure Travis after being made to watch that movie. So, I'm super excited. It's going to blow his mind. But Sleepaway Camp, Wednesday. Keep an eye out for it. Let's hope George is still around and available for next week's show after that. All right. We'll see you back here Monday for, is your movie really going to be better than Halloween? I mean, we got people over. Should we watch your movie or should we watch Halloween? We're going to have to watch Halloween. Spoiler alert. I win. See you Monday. Happy Halloween, everybody. Be safe out there.